Ready? Good morning, class. My name is Miss Kaitlin, and it is so nice to meet all of you. And today I came to talk to you about some apples. But first, I wanted to get to know some of you. Let's go around and say our names.
Aaron, Kayla.
It is so nice to meet both of you. Do you guys like apples?
Yeah.
Have you ever had apple pie?
Yeah.
I love apple pie. Apple pie is one of my favorite things to eat at Thanksgiving. Do you guys have apple pie at Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so today we're going to be talking more about an apple. I brought one in today if you want to go ahead and pass it around. Did you guys get a good look at it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about how it feels. How does an apple feel?
Cold.
It's cold. Is it rough or is it smooth?
Smooth.
Is it heavy or is it light?
Light.
Do you know what kind this apple is? No, this is a gala apple. And so there's a couple different kinds of apples, but this one's my favorite. And what color is my apple?
Red.
Great job. Okay, so let's talk more about apples. And so we said that we eat apple pie at Thanksgiving. And have you ever gone apple picking around the fall time? I love to go apple picking. You go pick apples in an orchard? Yeah? And so that is something fun that I enjoy to do, but that's when apples are harvested. So you start to see an apple in the late spring with a blossom, and then it eventually turns into the apple fruit at the end of the season that we go harvest. And so I want to talk more about how we group apples together. And so I told you there were different kinds of apples, like a gala apple, some Granny Smith apples. So those are different kinds of apples. But there's other similar kinds of fruit that are grown very closely to how an apple is grown, with the blossoms and being harvested in late fall. And so another fruit that's very similar to an apple is a pear. Can you see how a pear is very similar to an apple?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had a pear? What does a pear taste like?
Sour apple.
Yeah, it tastes kind of similar to an apple. What about the outside of an apple and a pear? Do they both have like the smooth outside like what you felt?
Yeah.
What about the top? Do they both have these sticks on top?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of shaped similar, even though a pear is a lot heavier. And so apples and pears are in the same class or family that's a pome. And I feel like that sounds so fun to say, a pome. And so I also wanted to talk about one of the parts of an apple. So we talked about the outside of an apple and a pear being really smooth, right? And so that outside that's really smooth on an apple or a pear and that gives it its color is the skin. This is the skin of the apple. And we also talked about the top of the apple. This is a stem. And this is what connects it to the tree, and it holds on. And so then when you pick an apple, you twist the stem off of the tree. And pears also have stems. And so I'm going to cut the apple in half for you guys so that you can get a better look at what's inside of an apple. Okay. So now that I have cut the apple in half, do you want to pass it around? Get a good look at it? Awesome. Do you guys want to talk about the inside of the apple?
Green.
Yeah, it's a different color than the outside. Is there a different texture on the inside?
Yeah.
Yeah, what does the inside feel like?
Slimy.
It's slimy. Yeah. Have you ever eaten an apple and gotten close to the inside and it's been really tough?
Yeah.
So that inside area is the core. And the core of the apple, how it houses the seeds. And the seeds are what plant another apple tree. Just like how you would plant flowers in the garden, apple trees also have seeds in their fruit, which is how you get more trees and more apples. And so then we talked about how the inside of the apple is different than the outside of the apple. The inside of the apple is called the flesh. This is the actual fruit part that we eat. And pears also have a core and seeds. and flesh and a skin and a stem. And because they're so similar, that's what puts them in the same group as a poem. Okay, can we have a little quiz? We gonna talk about it? Okay, so when do we harvest apples? When do we pick apples? The fall. Okay, so how does an apple start? If we end with an apple, what does it start with?
Seed.
Yes, and seeds turn into blossoms, and then you get fruit at the end. Okay, and so what was the stick at the top of the apple?
Stem.
And what was this part on the inside that we eat?
Flesh.
And how do we get more apples?
Seed.
Great job. Do you remember what fruit was in the same family as an apple?
Pear.
That's awesome. Do you even remember what their family name is called?
Oh.
Great job. I am so proud of you. You guys want a piece of apple?
Yeah.
Here you go. I will cut you off a piece. Here you are. Thank you so much for listening to me talk.
Thank you, Miss Casey.